We are here with Yui Dib.
Yeah.
You are fighting Jake Wiley on the Fortitude Boxing 40th anniversary fight night, August 23rd in Brisbane.
Yes.
Collaboration with Matchroom Boxing.
It's exciting for everyone involved, whether it be Fortitude or myself. Obviously, it's going to provide a good platform. So looking forward to performing on a good night.
Your first initial reaction to fighting Jake Wiley?
Look, I think when the offer came to fight Jake, I was probably in a position where, obviously coming off a couple of tough losses against Liam Wilson, I was in a position where I wanted to test myself against somebody who is at the top of the boxing tree in the 140-pound division. So obviously my last, I think 5 to 6 fights have been in the lightweight division, and I've just found it, pretty tough to sort of get down there, and it's been a bit of a stretch. I've fought most of my career at the 140-pound limit, so I think once the opportunity came to fight Jake, we jumped at it, especially him coming off the George Kambosos fight, where he performed very well. I'll be quite honest, before that, nothing really stood out to me about fighting Jake. Obviously he has fought some very good names now, especially with George on his record, but the likes of Dylan Emery, who is one of my stable mates, Dana Coolwell, he's fought a couple of really good names. So I think we're fighting Jake at the right time in terms of his own popularity, in terms of where he's at in his career. So yeah, definitely one that I'm looking forward to.
Speaking on Jake, he just came off he went the distance with George Kambosos. He performed quite well, and obviously he's looking to gain momentum now for the rest of this year. Did you see anything in particular in that fight that stood out to you with Jake?
Yeah, well, look, I think any time that you're coming in on short notice against somebody, what people need to understand that whilst Jake took the fight on short notice, I think you've also got to give those props to George Kambosos, because obviously he was preparing for a different fighter and had to make the adjustments that he needed to in that short time that he knew that he was having a replacement fighter in there. So look, what impressed me about Jake was, his willingness to come. At the same token, yeah, he performed well. And I think at the stage that George is in his career, I think if Jake didn't perform well and didn't give a good account of himself, it would have been pretty disappointing for Jake, because, he's young, he's hungry, he's very willing, he's determined. And those are things that are always going to give people a problem, especially in a short notice bout. So Jake's definitely got, a lot of good attributes, and at the same token, I believe there's a lot of holes that we're going to take advantage of and use to beat him.
Talking about your last couple of fights, especially the rematch with Liam Wilson, how has that shaped you to where you are mentally and physically? Have you noticed a change?
Well, look, I definitely feel primed and ready for this next, and what I believe is pretty much the last stage of my boxing career in terms of the different stages of your career. I feel like I'm an experienced fighter now, and I think having been tested against one of the best in not only Australia, but somebody who's proven himself at the world level, has only put me in better stead. It's given me a lot of confidence in terms of my own ability, and I still believe that I've got the tools to beat a fighter like Liam Wilson. And it's just unfortunate that, obviously in the first fight, I got caught with that shot because of a little bit of inexperience, a bit of over eagerness. And then I think the second time around, if it weren't for those 2 early knockdowns that, that sort of stuff does happen in boxing, I believe I was on my way to beating him too. And the fight was probably a little bit closer than what the judges had it. Still have a lot of people coming to me saying that fight, really the rest of the rounds belonged to you. It is what it is. Take our lessons from it, learn from it, and come back stronger in this next stage of my career.
Do you have an opinion on the fight night itself, going into, different territory, fighting away from home?
Yeah, well, look, the one thing that I do know is that Steve Della, Luke, the whole Fortitude team is extremely professional. And I know that they put on amazing shows. I've seen what they look like. We had a teammate in Dylan Emery fight, against Jake on one of the shows. And from all accounts, they're very well run. You know, there's a lot of crowd. There's a big crowd. It's a raucous crowd. So it's definitely something that excites me. In terms of you know, going to enemy territory, I've been there. I've done it. I've done it in the last fight, you know, against Liam Wilson in Brisbane, and something that I'm comfortable doing. You know, I've never really shied away from those sorts of challenges, and I'm looking forward to this one against Jake.
What would a statement win in Brisbane mean for your career at this stage?
I think especially with the fact that obviously Matchroom has got involvement, it's definitely a very good opportunity to put my name in their sort of minds. You know, I've had small talk with them in the past in Puerto Rico when Liam Parra was fighting, and you know they are obviously one of the leading promoters in world boxing, and it's definitely something that you want to be a part of. So a good win here is going to put me right at the top of their, you know, in their minds, and hopefully it'll lead to bigger opportunities for me. Especially at this stage of my career, I'm ready to take on the biggest and best challenges. Hence why I'm fighting Jake.
So August 23rd, the Fortitude Music Hall in Brisbane. Can we expect to see?
To expect to see a fighter who comes in fit, ready to fight, and somebody who doesn't really take a backward step. You know, I'm in always exciting fights, and I know this fight and this matchup against Jake, our style is going to mesh really well, and it's going to be an amazing show for not just the crowd, but hopefully whoever does get to see it.
Thank you very much.
No worries.
Look forward to having you on.
Awesome stuff. Thank you.